There was a documentary on this prostitute in Chicago about crack, and she was doing all sorts of drugs, but the documentary was about this prostitute. She was so fucking hot, like by any standards. Like, I like weird, quirky chicks that everybody's like, ew, what the fuck do you like? I like that she's fucking weird. I don't know why. But no, she was just wandering the streets, and she was like, hey, most of the veins in my arms had done collapsed, so I inject this speedball directly into my face. Yeah. You're fucking up the merchandise. Not everybody wants to fuck you from behind, all right? Not to mention, if you pick up a prostitute with track marks down her face, there's room for negotiation. Dude, it's like, $20, I'll suck your dick. How about I give you $10 and you recite Phantom of the Opera with no mask on?
Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Although, if you're in school, it's a pretty good place to find drugs.
Please let me back, sir. I have to get back in school. I can't go home and tell my mom I got kicked out of school.
You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack?
Yes, sir.
Now, why should I let you back into my school, Sams?
Because I'm going to do better, sir.
There you go. Morgan Freeman just told you can find crack in public school. No child left behind. You may be thinking, where can I find drugs? I don't know. You find drugs where you meet people. At school, prison, Weight Watchers, the Magic Kingdom, the gun range, the pharmacy, after the gun range with the gun you practice with. Since the beginning of the war on drugs, policymakers have upheld institutions that vilify drugs and drug users. They misappropriate drugs and drug usage as synonymous with pathology, with disease. The only drugs that get any credibility are the big pharmaceutical drugs that can afford the scrutiny of the Food and Drug Administration. Everything else is deemed unsuitable, without medicinal effects. And the war on drugs has incarcerated countless individuals as a result of this. But the simple fact is that drugs are fun. Jesus Christ. If you have some, do them.
There's no way that legal drugs could be bad, right? I mean, they're prescribed by doctors.
Hate to break it to you, but some prescription drugs are almost identical to street drugs.
Prescription drugs are nearly identical to street drugs because street drugs are effective. They make you feel better.
Kids across America take the prescription drug Adderall, which is an amphetamine. But you know what else is an amphetamine? Meth.
First off, that's not meth, that's cold medication. Second, why is meth in a pharmaceutical bottle? Third, it's not Adderall either. That's not the color for Adderall. Fourth, why are you jacking some dude's meth? Fifth, that analogy is like Princess Diana was a human. You know who else is a human? Charles Manson. This is Adderall. This is meth. This is Adderall. Notice how she has all her teeth, she's smiling, and she's not in a hazmat suit. Adderall is helpful, it's non-toxic. Yeah, word of warning though, if you have a heart condition, don't take Adderall. Or do and die, but don't blame me. I don't really care. The internet's killed some people, right? Hasn't there been a suicide or two due to this fucking thing I'm on? Leave down in the comments section the name and phone numbers of dealers that we can get drugs from. Or elderly people who have drugs lying around their house and their address. Leave it down in the comments. Don't do drugs. Let drugs do you and your sister. Actually, let me do your sister. The simple fact of the matter is that no one is entirely sure how psychoactive pharmaceuticals work. The reason is because there's no way to test at this point whether or not serotonin is being left in the synapse between individual neurons, individual cells, and not being taken back up by the messenger cell. There's no way to test it. It's just based on inventory, self-inventory. It basically goes, you go to a psychiatrist, they say, would you like to enjoy your life more? You say yes. They give you pills. You report back to them in 30 days. Is your life more enjoyable? If you say yes, then you are prescribed that pill. There's no blood. It's not like cholesterol where they could just test the level in your blood serum. It's self-inventory. If you want Adderall, go to your psychiatrist and tell them you want Adderall. So people who tell you that it's dangerous to take Adderall unless you're prescribed Adderall are basically wrong, because it's a system of self-inventory. Here's how not to talk to your drug dealer. Yo dog, my phone's bugged. What's your address? I think the game plan would be to start with the hard ones like PCP, then work your way back to Flintstone vitamins. Yeah, drugs are bad in the hands of Bill Cosby. Methamphetamines are not an epidemic drug. I have been looking for I don't sell drugs, although I will sell you placebos. Why take Adderall? It only makes you skinny and smart. Marijuana impairs my ears when people smoke it and then speak into them. I have here from the CDC a report that says Heath Ledger was, by a wide margin, the most overrated person to overdose on pills. It's basic supply and contraband. Buy low, get high. Everybody's going to tell you not to do drugs, but everybody also does drugs. So, my advice is don't get addicted to an expensive drug. Get addicted to a cheap drug. You're worth it. I can't advocate for all drugs, like whatever drugs did to this person. Yeah, don't do that.